when you first got in the gate, you crossed the bridge, got in the main gate, there was those temples, and so I was kind of standing by there. And Maharaji was inside, so people were just waiting. And then he came out, and I kind of wandered back towards where he was, and I saw him, and that was it. I mean,
that was it.
It was it. It was something happened to me, and I said, "This is it. This is what I've been looking for in my life." And I run away from home like several times. The first time I was like 12, and I would come back home every few years and then leave again. Sort of searching for something and not really happy. And I just saw him, and it was like
instantaneous.
He didn't say anything.
Wow.
At that point, and it was amazing.
That's amazing.
I decided this is where I was going to be. This is where I needed to be, and I was not going to leave. And so when he did speak to me, he saw me and he said, "Come over here. Who are you? Where are you from?" And I thought he was asking where I was coming from. I said, "Kathmandu." He said, "You're lying." Which is, and then he told me to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Threw me out, and the next day I came back and he threw me out. Like went off like 4 or 5 days. Every day I would come, he would throw me out, and I would wait outside for the bus, and I would go back. And I was getting quite discouraged, but I wasn't going to give up because there was something in me that said that this is where I needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then he told me to go to Kosani. I don't know if you,
mm-hmm.
He said, "Go to Kosani." We got there. It was kind of getting dark. There was a guest house. He stayed at the guest house, and I took the first bus in the morning back.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "I told you to go to Kasani." I said, "Yes, Maharaj, but he didn't say how long I needed to stay there." So he sort of tolerated me for a while. And, I started translating for people,
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite interesting, but it was different because, Dada and others would selectively translate,
Yes.
There was a lot of screening going on, there was a lot of editing going on, and
Mm-hmm.
with me, it was just straight whatever he said,
Yeah.
translate. And sometimes he would yell at me, "Hey, don't." Other times he would he was amused that, I was translating and people were kind of understanding more, like the gossip that was going on, or him commenting on the news, or politicians and stuff. It was like his personal assistant, a translator for him. I had access to everybody. I was sent away, I'd be there with him, and got to travel with him. It was incredible. Everybody had their own relationship and their own thing. So with me, oftentimes when I'd be in the room with him alone, he'd be off in some other planet, and I'd be sitting there, and I would close my eyes and try to meditate. And I feel like every time I would get deeper, he would smack me on the head, and send me off on an errand somewhere. And so I feel like I never, I felt like I really wanted to, with him, his presence, get someplace, hoping, this fantasy that I would get someplace because he was there and I was there alone and we were both meditating or something. But he never permitted. He never permitted that. So I felt like my job there was seva.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really to focus on myself, but more to focus on the needs and other things. So he would send me off to fix people's visas. He sent me off to Delhi for some errands. He sent me off to Delhi to get cashew nuts. And I said, "Maharaj, I can get cashew nuts from Banaras." No. You go to Delhi, you go to this bazaar, and get cashew nuts from there. It wasn't even like a particular store. It wasn't like there was somebody he wanted me to go to and get the cashew. No. Go to Delhi. There's a bazaar over there, and you get cashew nuts from there. So I would go on the night bus, overnight, and I would get there in the morning, and I would get the stuff and come back the night bus. So it'd be like 2 nights in the bus. And then he sent me the next morning to get something else from Delhi. It was like just useless errands. It seemed to be pretty useless.
Right.
And I would come back and he would say something like "Koge," which means "Are you lost?"
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm standing right here. And so he did this. Like I went on 4 trips, consecutive trips each, and so it was 8 nights on the bus.
Oh my God!
And I could have stayed there, but I didn't want to stay there. It was I wanted to spend as much time as I could in the ashram, so I would take the night bus and come back the next night. And it was like years and years later that I really got what he was saying. At least, again, it's your interpretation, of course. It was my interpretation of what he was saying.
Right.
Years later, I was working at Oxfam in '84. It was in the famine in Africa, and I was an information coordinator for the famine. And so it was like every day getting telex. This was before internet and email and the stuff. We had a telex machine,
Mm-hmm.
and every morning we get these long telexes of country by country report how many children died overnight and how much. And I was just absolutely went crazy. I just couldn't take it, and I was angry and I was frustrated and I just couldn't stand people laughing or eating. I just none of that made any sense. And then I felt when I was just at the edge of having a breakdown or quitting my job or just saying I can't. I started remembering him saying, "Ravi, you lost."
Uh-huh.
That his voice would come into my head, "Koge Ravi," and it was a reminder that this is all a game. So I mean, it's miserable, it's horrible, but it doesn't give me excuse not to do something about it. But at the same time, it's still